Hey guys, so coming to you from my living room today. Obviously, I just got out of the shower. I'm getting ready to go to work, but I wanted to get today's video done kind of quickly. It's not going to be a very long one. I've got a lot going on right now in my life. For those of you who don't know what's going on in my personal life, I am buying a new house. I'm selling this one. And yeah, I'm super excited about it, super excited to be doing something new. And just kind of taking that next step and moving on. So for the next few videos, I'm going to talk about the stages of grief. So today's topic is going to be the very first stage. Your very first stage of grief is going to be denial and isolation. So I think trauma is recovered from very similar to grief. At least in my personal experience. When I was raped, right afterwards, I didn't want to see anyone, didn't want to talk to anyone, just really wanted to keep to myself, kind of process my own thoughts, figure out what I was feeling, what was going on, what I wanted to happen. And I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to answer questions. You know, I went through reporting it, which means I went through a lot of questions, a lot of well, what was this? Did you say this? How did this happen? You know, and when you go through that, I mean, that kind of sets the tone for your healing process, or at least it did for mine. And so by the time I was done with all of that, I just didn't want to talk. I didn't want people around me, and I really, really did not want to be touched. That was the biggest thing for me, I think. I was mostly okay when, like, my mom or, like, somebody like that, my sister, would come hug me. That was okay. But anything else, you know, my brother, my dad, just guys in general, I did not want to touch me. I did not want them near me, didn't want them sitting next to me. So it was very hard kind of going out into the world because there's obviously people everywhere. You go somewhere crowded and people are going to bump into you, touch you, and every little touch just freaked me out. So I definitely did a lot of self-isolation. And denial was also kind of the first, I think, emotion that I went through, even before anger, and just everything. The very first thing I remember feeling when I found the condom was, no, that didn't happen. Couldn't have happened, not to me. And, you know, you think about it, you hear so much about people being raped and sexually assaulted, women, men, everyone. You hear about it constantly. Yeah, especially more now than ever before. People are finally getting out there, they're speaking out, they're telling their stories, and obviously I'm one of them. And as that happens, you know, I think it might become easier for some people to kind of get through that very first stage, especially when they hit the denial point. You know, I didn't spend a whole lot of time in denial. I spent a lot of time in isolation more than denial as I was moving through the other stages. And I'm somebody who believes that you can go through a few stages kind of at once, because I definitely stayed in isolation for a very long time while also going through some of the other stages that I'm going to talk about in the following videos. But I think denial was the very first thing I felt. I didn't want to accept that it happened. I didn't want to accept that somebody would do that, especially not somebody that I considered a friend, someone that I trusted and let into my inner circle. And, you know, it happened here at my house. So for me, it was kind of a big deal because, you know, home is where you're supposed to be safe. Home is where nothing is supposed to happen to you. You know, you should be able to come and go as you please. You should walk in and just know, you know, that sense of peace of I am home. I am good. You know, nothing can happen to me here. And he took that away from me. He took away my sense of security and safety. And, you know, when you hear about rapes, you know, you always hear about how people, you know, they were out at a bar or at a party or, you know, something like that. That's the mainstream story that you hear is people were out when it happened and their drink got spiked or, you know, something like that. You don't really hear about it happening at home. And especially if you do hear about it, you know, in like TV shows and stuff and it happened at home, it's connected with another crime, you know, vandalism, burglary, something like that. So it's not just someone came in and raped you. It happens. It's just not something that's mainstream. It's not something that you always hear about. So I think for me, admitting that it happened to me, admitting that it happened in my home by someone that I trusted, by somebody that I thought wouldn't hurt me, I think that was kind of the big deal for the denial of me. Is it doesn't happen at home. It doesn't happen in my house. It wouldn't happen to me. It wouldn't happen by a friend. I didn't want to believe any of those things. I wanted to think that there had to be something else, some other reason or something. So denial was definitely the very first thing that I went through. And I think that's normal. I think when any kind of traumatic event or sad event or something that alters your life or alters your feelings, I think you kind of go through different phases of grief in different ways. And, I don't think that you have to start in a sequential line. I don't think, maybe not everybody starts with denial. Maybe some people start with anger or something like that. I just know where I started, and obviously I started in denial, isolation, and so on. And that's okay. Everybody handles everything their own way. You handle trauma your own way. You handle grief your own way. Loss, pain, things like that. Your body, your mind will heal at its own space, its own pace, and it will take however much time it needs in whatever way that it needs to get you through it. Humans are so resilient and so strong, and sometimes it takes a traumatic event to show you what you're made of, to show you just how strong you really are. And I think that was one thing that I really brought forward from all of the experiences that I've been through from my story, is that I am an incredible woman. I am so strong and I am so brave. And, it took me a really long time to accept those feelings, because feeling good after something is very hard to do. Trusting your own feelings is very hard to do. And, I never felt strong. I never felt confident, independent, and I still go through days now where I'm like, I don't know why people say that I'm so strong. I don't know why people say that I am brave. But I think now it's gotten to the point that I've been told so many times that it's kind of starting to sink in. You hit a nail enough times, it finally will go into the wall. And I think, the positive reinforcement from my circle of trust and my family and my friends and the people who I know care about me and love me, and they see every side of me, the good, the bad, and the ugly, I think having that there for me, that support system, helped me start the next stages and helped me accept that I am incredible, that I am strong, that I am brave. And I know not everybody in the world has the same support system as me, but part of this group is to create a support system. I want to create a network of people that will lift you up and be there for you no matter what happened to you, no matter what your story is. People need to know that they are not alone, that they have people that will be there for them, accept them, help them. And, even when you're not ready for it, you may not be ready for that right now, but when you are, it's there. I'm here. I will be the support system for anyone and everyone who needs it. I will hold you up if I need to. I will help you. I will give you advice. I will be a listening ear. Whatever you guys need, I want to be there for you. I want to help you in the way that my family and my counselor and everybody helped me, because I wouldn't be where I am today if not for those things. And I really think it starts at the very beginning. When something happens, you need those reinforcements. You need to know those things. And as women, it's very hard for us to accept that we ever need help. But, you don't have to say it. You don't have to say I need help. You don't have to say I want you with me, or, that kind of thing. It can be as simple as just saying, hey, do you want to talk on the phone for a minute? Or stop over after work, or, grab a bite to eat, get a drink, something like that. My family is a little bit different, because even when I wanted to be alone, they bullied their way in. They wanted to be there for me, and they didn't really know how other than to just show up. At the time, I didn't like it. Now I look back on it and realize that it was helpful to have people there that wanted to be around whether I wanted it or not, whether I was ready for it or not. It makes it sound so bad, doesn't it? I don't mean it in a bad way at all. My family is amazing. My friends are amazing, and I, like I said, would not be here if it wasn't for them. So, yeah, that's my message for today. If you are going through denial, if you've been through denial, if you're isolating, that kind of thing, I challenge you today to do one thing that pushes you towards the next step. You know, make a phone call, make a text message to someone, reach out, get outside, get in the sunlight, do something that used to bring you joy. You know, I love to cook, I love to bake, so that's something that you could do, anything like that. Just get out there, try to start that very first step forward. And, you know, as always, if you guys want to talk to me, if you need anything, want more ideas, shoot me a message. Otherwise, I'll see you next Friday.